To kind of continue on with my talk about education and growing up with my parents who really valued education, I wanted to tell you a little bit about a favorite story of mine called the Oatmeal Story. I put this story with education because it has to do with making sure kids start off the day with a good breakfast. My mom was one of those mothers back during the 50s, 60s, 70s that always believed that children should go to school with their bellies full and that it should be a good breakfast, not just something real quick and so forth. And even though we grew up in a poor family, my parents always made sure that there was some type of food that was either canned or it was bought but in large quantities so that we would always have something to eat. And one of the things that my mom would always buy in large quantities would be oatmeal. It was either oatmeal, grits, or rice. Now, grits wasn't exactly my favorite. I love rice, but I absolutely hate cooked oatmeal. Now, I will eat oatmeal in the form of bread, cookies, that sort of thing, but for a breakfast cereal, oh my goodness, no. I cannot stand the texture of it. That's what it is. It's the texture. Hate it, hate it. But my mom knew, like we know today, that oatmeal is one of those superfoods, that it's good for you. It's good for your digestion. It's good for your cholesterol. It's good for all of those things. I get that. I know that. But I still hate oatmeal. Okay? So let me kind of tell you the story and you'll maybe understand why. My mom would make sure that we had a very good breakfast. And if we were fortunate enough to have raised a pig the year before, then we would have it slaughtered. And we would have, for the winter, ham, bacon, pork chops, that sort of thing. But sometimes we didn't. And so all we would have is eggs, maybe some occasional bacon, but definitely oatmeal. Well, like most kids, I thought I could outsmart my mother. She was forcing me to eat this oatmeal, and I hated oatmeal. And so I thought what I would do is I would pretend to eat the oatmeal and hide it. So while waiting for the bus to come, and we lived in the country, so our busing had nothing to do with color. It was because we lived in a rural area. And so while waiting for the bus, we were having our breakfast. And sometimes we would sit with our coats on so that we'd be prepared to go. And also the house was a little drafty, so it would be kind of cold. So I'd be sitting there with my coat on, and I got this wonderful idea. I thought, I'll put a hole in the pocket of my coat. Then when my mom's not looking, I would pretend to put the oatmeal in my mouth, then dump it in that hole in my pocket, of which there was a Rainbow Bread plastic bag. You remember Rainbow Bread? Yeah, okay. So my mom would set this big bowl of piping hot oatmeal with cream and sugar, a little bit of butter on top, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh God, I can't eat this stuff. She's going to make me eat it. The point was, my mom would say, you don't have to eat it all, but you do need to eat enough so that you get that warm feeling in your belly. Well, in my belly was this, I'm going to throw up sort of thing. So anyway, I decided I was going to do my experiment one day. So Mom sets the bowl in front of me, and she's watching me to take that first bite. So I take it and I put the spoon in my mouth, and I'm thinking, don't gag, don't gag, don't gag. So I put it in my mouth. She turns her head. I simply take it all out, put it in that little plastic bag in my pocket. Now my sister Sherry is watching this whole time, and my sister Sherry lived to tell on me. You know how that goes. We were a little less than 18 months apart, and anytime she could get me in trouble, she would. That's my sister Sherry. But she didn't say anything. I should have known why, but she just didn't say anything. So I did this for several days in a row. Pretend in the sack, pretend in the sack. Then I'd simply take, and I'd either leave the sack on the bus, or I would take it into school and dump it in the trash. So here I am thinking that I've got it made, that I have done this cool hiding thing to make my mom pretend. And oh, by the way, I was hungry. Yes, I'm going to school hungry because I can't stand to eat the oatmeal. Luckily, occasionally we would have eggs or some bacon to go along with it, so that would help. But on the days that we had just oatmeal, which was several of those type of days, I went to school hungry. So anyway, one day I'm doing my little trick thinking I'm fooling my mother, and the bus is coming. We can hear it coming down the road, and my mom says, Donna Kay, I have to go into town today, so why don't you stay and you'll go in with me? And I'm thinking, what? I mean, what? Why would she want me to go with her into town? This doesn't make any sense. And I said, no, Mom, that's okay, that's okay. And she goes, no, I want you to stay, help me clean up, and then I'll take you in. And I'm going, Mom, I'm going to be late. And it's Mrs. Brown, third grade. Everybody has a third grade teacher that drives them crazy. But I said, Mrs. Brown will get on to me. She goes, no, I'll explain to Mrs. Brown. You're staying with me. So now I'm thinking, my sister Sherry has told on me. And I'm giving her the evil eye, like, And of course, she's looking at me going, you're going to get it. You're just going to get it. Because she knows that Mom knows. So everyone gets on the bus and leaves, and I'm helping Mom clean up the table. And I'm getting ready to move my bowl to dump out what's left, and she says, sit down. So I sit down. She looks at me and she says, take it out of your pocket. And I'm thinking, take what out of my pocket? That look you give your parents, what? I don't know what you're talking about, And she says, take the bag out of your pocket. I'm like, Mom, I don't have a bag. And she says, child, do not take this any further. Take that bag out of your pocket. So now I'm beginning to feel like I am going to get just slaughtered here. So I'm taking it out and I'm like, okay, here it is. And I'm trying to make up this story like I'm saving it for children in China or something, And she says, don't lie to me. I know you've been doing this for days. Your daddy works too hard for you to be wasting food. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get it because she's doing the hand thing. When your parents do the hand thing, you're going to get it. And so I'm like, I won't do it anymore. I promise I won't do it anymore. And she says, no, you won't do it anymore because you're going to eat that. And I'm thinking, not only is it oatmeal, but now it's cold oatmeal. And so she just dumps it back in the bowl, mixes it back up in my bowl. And I'm sitting here looking at this. And I swear to you, I think the oatmeal looked up at me and smiled. Like, you're going to eat me now. And I was like, oh my God. I said, Mom, I can't eat this. I will throw up. She says, you throw up, I'm going to spank you because you shouldn't have been doing this. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to throw up. I really am going to throw up. And she says, just eat a few bites. I just need you to eat a few bites so we can get this over with and I can get into town. So I do my best. I'm eating it. And with every bit of it going down, it's getting stuck right here. It's just stuck. It's not going down. And I can feel it trying to move back up. And my mom's giving me that look. And you have to know something. I look just like my mother now, okay? I look at pictures of my mother and we look just alike now. So imagine my mother looking at me, giving me that look with those squinted eyes going, child, you're going to get it now. So sure enough, I throw up. Blah, just right on the table. And my mom's just looking at me like, And she said, okay, now we're going to be late getting into town. So she goes in and she gets stuff and she's cleaning it up and she says, get in the bathroom, wash your face, go wash your face. So I go in and I'm thinking my mother is the most horrible person in the world, And so I go in, I wash my face and everything. And she says, you will be doing chores. You will be doing chores when you come back from school. I'm thinking, I'm going to school? After all of this, I'm going to school? And she just gives me the look like, don't make me have to come over there. That look that your parents give you. So, wash my face, I'm patting my face like, at least I didn't have to finish that oatmeal. So she takes me to school. And remember I told you Mrs. Brown, third grade teacher. Mrs. Brown, that's a whole nother story that I'll have to tell you about. I get in. My sister Sherry's already told everyone, Donna Kay got in trouble for not eating her oatmeal. She's been hiding it in a bag. That sort of thing. So my mom comes up and she's explaining to Mrs. Brown why I'm late. And Mrs. Brown's like, do you want me to punish her, Sarah? I can punish her. Back in those days, the parents and everybody knew, especially in small towns, everybody knows everyone. And so they call each other by first name, except for teachers. You have to be respectful. And Mom was not going to call Mrs. Brown by her first name. I don't think the woman even had a first name, But anyway, she's like, Sarah, you want me to punish punish her. I can punish her. You know, she's doing the hand thing like my mom does. And Mom's like, no, and I'm hiding behind Mom's dress because I know Mrs. Brown. Ugh. You know, and Mom goes, no, she's already been punished and she's going to be punished some more later. Well, I think I can punish her even more. No. So, well, Mrs. Brown says she's already behind. You know, we've already had arithmetic. Remember back then, math wasn't called math. It was called arithmetic. And she says, we've already gotten past arithmetic. So she'll have to stay in at recess. Here I am being punished even more for this oatmeal. And she says she'll have to stay in at recess, which I didn't mind. I didn't want the other kids teasing me and so forth. So I stayed in and I did arithmetic on the board. You know, you used to go to the board and you practice all of your facts and everything. So here I am thinking all day long that my mom's the worst person in the world to treat me this way, to make me eat oatmeal, throw up, then go to school, then get punished by Mrs. Brown. But the next day, it's time for breakfast again. Time to be prepared to go to school. And I'm sitting there taking all I can to think that I'm going to have to eat this oatmeal again. I mean, I'm just like, oh, Lord, help me. You know, I'm praying, please help me with this oatmeal thing. And my mom sits down a bowl in front of me, and I look down thinking it's going to be this oatmeal smiling up at me. But no, it's a bowl of rice. Because this morning we're having oatmeal and bacon. And everybody else has oatmeal. And I've got a bowl of rice. I love rice. My mom knows I love rice. And she knows how I like it. I don't like it with the cream and sugar. I like it with a little salt and pepper and a little butter. And so my mom, who made real butter back then, from the milk of the cow, because back in the good old days, you know what I mean? She sets that bowl of rice in front of me. I honestly thought I was going to cry. I mean, I looked up at her and I thought, this woman loves me. Even though she was giving me this look. Like, what am I going to do with this child? Remember, this is my mother's face. But she's giving me that look. And then she said, you think you can eat that? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she says, good, I want to see it all gone. Luckily, there wasn't a whole bunch of it there, but because she had just fixed one bowl of rice. Because my mom believed that children should go to school on a full belly, ready to do their job, which is learning. That's my oatmeal story and how it relates to education. I hope you enjoyed it. I will never forget that story. Trust me. Or Mrs. Brown, who wanted to punish me even more. So, hope you enjoyed that story. I'll have another one of these days for you. This is Donna. Bye.